Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're doing something a little different, something deeper, something personal. Before we start, take a second. If you enjoy meaningful conversations, real stories, and moments that make you think about who you are, subscribe to the channel, like this episode, and stay with us.
Yes, thank you for being here. Today is not about learning fast English. It's about learning yourself through stories, memories, and family history.
Exactly. Because whether we realize it or not, we are all walking stories.
Stories written long before we were born.
Sophie, when was the first time you really thought about your past? Not yesterday, not childhood memories, but your roots.
Honestly, it happened when I found an old photograph in my grandmother's house, a picture with names written behind it, names I didn't recognize.
That moment changes everything, doesn't it?
Yes, because suddenly you realize that your life didn't start with you. It started with choices, sacrifices, migrations, love stories, and pain that you never witnessed.
That's exactly what this episode is about, uncovering our roots.
Look at this picture, Lucas. People standing stiffly, no smiles, different clothes, different time.
And yet, same blood, same eyes sometimes, same silence.
Sometimes I wonder how many dreams were buried so that we could exist today.
That question hits hard because our comfort today is often built on invisible struggles.
Exactly. Some ancestors crossed oceans, some survived wars, some stayed quiet so their children could speak freely.
And the crazy thing is, most of us don't know their names.
Why do you think people avoid talking about the past?
Because the past is uncomfortable. It asks questions we're not ready to answer. Who were we? Where do we really come from? And what did we lose along the way?
Sometimes families keep secrets, not because they want to lie, but because pain was the only inheritance they could pass down.
That's powerful. Family history isn't just about dates and places. It's about emotions that survived generations.
Fear, courage, love, silence.
And identity. Do you think knowing your roots changes how you live your life?
Absolutely. When you know where you come from, you stop feeling lost so easily.
Yes, you realize you're not weak. You're the result of survivors.
Sometimes people say, I don't care about the past, but the past cares about them.
It shows up in habits, in fears we don't understand, in strengths we underestimate.
That's why ancestry stories matter, not to glorify suffering, but to give meaning to resilience.
Imagine if your ancestors could see you today.
I think they would say, live fully. We paid the price.
That sentence alone deserves silence. And you, listening right now, have you ever asked your parents or grandparents about their past?
If not, this episode is your sign.
Ask questions, record voices, save stories.
Because one day, you will become the past for someone else.
And what story will you leave behind? And there's another thing people rarely talk about when it comes to family history. Sometimes when you start digging into the past, you don't only find pride, you find confusion.
Yes, you discover branches that were cut, names that disappeared, stories that were never finished. I remember someone telling me once, I searched my family tree and found a silence. No records, no photos, just gaps.
And those gaps speak louder than words. They usually mean exile, slavery, war, poverty, or shame imposed by history.
That's when you understand that genealogy isn't just curiosity, it's courage.
Because you need strength to accept that not everything in your past is beautiful, but everything in your past is meaningful.
Exactly. Some people fear that if they look back, they'll lose themselves. But the opposite is true.
You lose yourself when you don't know where you come from. Have you noticed how people who feel disconnected often say, I don't belong anywhere?
Yes, And belonging doesn't always come from geography. It comes from continuity.
Knowing that someone before you stood where you stand now and survived.
Sometimes, when life feels heavy, I think of my ancestors not as heroes, but as ordinary people who refuse to give up.
That thought alone can carry you through hard days.
Because suddenly, your struggles feel inherited, not personal.
And that removes shame. Another thing I realized while exploring family stories is how much was never said out loud.
Yes, love that was hidden, dreams that were postponed forever, talents that had no space to grow.
And we carry that, sometimes unknowingly.
That's why some passions feel so intense. Music, art, travel, entrepreneurship. Maybe someone in your lineage wanted that life but couldn't have it.
So you're living it for them. That idea gives purpose to freedom. Do you think modern society is losing this connection to the past?
Yes, we move fast, we scroll, we forget.
And yet, people are more anxious than ever.
Because speed without roots creates emptiness.
That's why these conversations matter. They slow us down. They reconnect us.
They remind us that we didn't appear by accident.
Sometimes I imagine a long table, every generation sitting there, some faces familiar, others completely unknown.
And yet, all of them are present in you.
In your voice, in your gestures, in the way you react to fear or love.
That's a powerful image.
Often, people think ancestry is about the past, but it's also about the future.
Yes, because once you understand what was broken, you can choose not to repeat it.
You can heal patterns.
You can rewrite endings.
And maybe that's the real inheritance.
Not money, not land, but awareness.
Awareness that you are a link, not the beginning, not the end.
A bridge.
If you're listening right now and this episode feels personal, that's not a coincidence.
It means your story is asking to be remembered.
And honored. We'll continue exploring these stories together because understanding the past is one of the quietest ways to reclaim power. There's something else that happens when you stay long enough with the past. At first, it feels distant. Then slowly, it starts to feel familiar.
Yes. You stop seeing ancestors as abstract figures. They become people, with doubts, with fears, with unfinished conversations.
Sometimes I think about how many goodbyes were never said.
And how many letters were never written.
In some families, stories are passed down clearly. In others, everything is fragmented.
But even fragments matter. A recipe, a proverb, a way of sitting at the table.
Those small things are archives too.
Yes. Not everything is written in books. Some history lives in gestures.
And in silence.
Have you noticed how certain traditions survive even when people don't know why they exist?
Absolutely. Like rituals we repeat without understanding their origin.
And yet, we feel uncomfortable when we stop doing them.
Because they anchor us.
Another thing that struck me when researching family history is how often people had to reinvent themselves.
New names, new countries, new languages.
Sometimes voluntarily, sometimes by force.
That kind of transformation leaves marks.
Yes. Even generations later, you see it in the way people adapt quickly or never fully relax.
Survival becomes instinct.
Do you think trauma can travel through generations?
I think experiences don't disappear just because time passes. They transform.
They change shape.
And sometimes they wait.
Until someone is ready to look at them.
That's why some people feel emotions that don't seem to belong to their own life.
Fear without a clear source. Sadness without a clear memory.
And also strength without explanation.
Yes. Some courage is inherited.
There's beauty in realizing you are not self-made.
It humbles you.
And it connects you.
I think the past doesn't ask us to admire it blindly. It asks us to listen,
To understand.
to choose differently if needed.
That's why uncovering your roots is not about nostalgia. It's about responsibility.
Responsibility towards those who came before and those who will come after.
You don't owe the past perfection.
But you owe it honesty.
And maybe, after listening long enough, you realize something simple.
You were not lost.
You were just disconnected.
And reconnection begins with attention.
We'll stay here a little longer because some stories need time to surface.
And silence to be heard.